Um, yeah, so good afternoon, everybody. Maybe good morning for some of you who are in other parts of the world. My name is, as you can see, Andrian Zafirasuaninrain, or just Andri. I'm the facilitator, the main facilitator for this webinar series for AFAS. So today we agreed that we will have a very special webinar because it will focus on the use of ICT for extension, and we will showcase the Ethiopian event and process that happened in April. The key person for this event was Dr. Millian, who is also joining us from Bonn, I think. Yeah? You're from Bonn now. And Dr. Samsung, who is actually also in Ethiopia. And there will be some of their colleagues who presented some ICT solutions who will also share their experience and their solutions during this webinar. So maybe to start, we have actually 15, up to now we have 15 participants. It will increase, I know, with the time, so we don't need to make a presentation for now, but I will just give an overview that there are about 22 countries that subscribe to this webinar. 50 persons, 30% of these participants have never used a webinar tool, so and especially the Zoom. So allow me just to explain how this Zoom works. If we don't want to have too much traffic on the internet, we can also deactivate our video and the sound. So to do that, you just go on the right, down at the bottom right side of your screen, you can mute your mic and also stop the video just by clicking there. But when you're going to speak, make sure you click again, you unmute yourself. Okay, so that's one first thing. Now, during this session, presenters will have time to present, explain, but after each presentation, we might take a break and give place to question and answers from participants. So you will have time for that. Just make sure you put your voice on, unmute yourself before speaking. You can also raise your hand so that the facilitator will give you the floor. Is it okay for everybody? Yes, I presume. Now, yeah, let me start then introduce Dr. Millian, and he will show his face also, his video, because he's the first person who will going to explain what was this ICT for extension about, which happened in 11th of April 2019. So, Dr. Millian.
Okay, so I continue?
Yes.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Million. Should I also briefly introduce myself?
Yes, please.
Okay, I basically work for ILRI at this office as a consultant on two projects. So I organized the ICT marketplace in that capacity. In my other capacity, I'm a postdoctoral fellow at the University of Bonn in Germany. That is why I'm here today, joining you from Germany, but normally I deliver my ILRI job from Addis. So we have I work on two projects in my ILRI capacity. Both of the projects are working on promoting sustainable intensification research. One is called SARILA, Sustainable Agriculture Intensification Research and Learning in Africa. Another one is called Africa Rising. Probably some of you know Africa Rising because it's posed in West and Southeastern African countries. So this ICT marketplace, at least from myself and my organization's interest point of view, was under our project on SARILA. This is the Sustainable Agriculture Research and Learning in Africa project. the main departing point for us was the SARILA considers ICT as an important tool to promote sustainable intensification technologies. And one of the projects within SARILA, which is working in Ethiopia as well, is trying to develop an ICT solution to deliver need-based agricultural advisory services to farmers in Ethiopia, in Tanzania, I think in Kenya as well. I have to cross-check, but I'm sure it's in Tanzania and Ethiopia. So as part of SARILA, we have what we call national learning alliances. The idea is to not do conventional research, but to do research combining it with a social learning approach, where we would bring decision makers to see evidences generated by research, as well as to bring actors working in a similar area for a joint learning. So because of the research interest of SARILA on ICT for extension, we have within our National Learning Alliance, we have what we call a thematic learning group for ICT in research and extension. So one observation we had over the last close to 2.5 years working in Ethiopia under that project is there are lots of ICT initiatives. There are lots of people interested in applying ICT in agriculture and particularly in agriculture extension. And there are also lots of extension personnel who would like to know what ICT solutions are out there for them to be able to apply. But there are no really proper platforms where people of a similar interest could come and learn from their experiences. So within our National Learning Alliance, we wanted to facilitate learning around this and bring together actors working on ICT solutions. So we wanted to organize a workshop to bring extensionists and ICT solution providers, and facilitate learning around the topic. Coincidentally, the Ministry of Agriculture, together with Farm Radio, Samson is here, were also planning a similar activity. They also met and they were brainstorming on what to do together, and they felt like there are lots of actors on ICT solution provision and also people from agriculture who need to come together. So somehow these two initiatives joined hands, and we decided, okay, rather than doing two workshops, why not work together? So we quickly formed a joint organizing committee between ILRI, Farm Radio, Ministry of Agriculture Extension Directorate, and Digital Green. Others were also invited, but they were not able to make time for it. So this small organizing committee took the initiative to organize the workshop. And we shared responsibility and we pushed for organizing the workshop. We had three objectives in mind when organizing the workshop. The first is, as I said, there are lots of actors who are working on ICT solutions in extension, and there are lots of extension personnel who want to understand ICT solutions available. So our first objective was to enhance that understanding, who is doing what, yeah, in the ICT areas. But then beyond understanding, we want to create a platform where people can exchange knowledge, identify joint actions, and start coordinating their actions. After that, the idea was not to end up to be organizing just another workshop, but to be able to see some continuity. So within our objective, we had in mind of forming a kind of technical working group which would bring ICT solution providers and extension providers together on a regular basis, and also generate some policy recommendations for the national extension system. I should, for those of you who may not be familiar with the extension system in Ethiopia, we have very strong extension system. One of the extension systems in Africa with large number of extension workers. If I'm not mistaken, more than 50,000 extension workers. We also have close to 14,000 farmer training centers serving some 15 million farmers. So that is a huge, a very huge public extension system. So now with all that capacity, there is still a gap in reaching out to farmers with technologies. If you take improved seeds, for example, as an entry, we have only 25% of our farmers using improved seeds in their production system. But it means that there are lots of gaps to fill in, and we thought ICT would be one of the tools which can actually help us to leverage the good potentials in the extension system and reach out to a large number of farmers. So part of the extension, the national extension strategy, actually the second pillar, it aims at promoting ICT use in extension. So sort of the workshop was also intending to collect some input which can help in operationalizing that pillar as well. So it was quite ambitious, but I would say the overall impression was that the workshop was really good. The methodology was innovative. The solutions that they came to present were really useful ones, and the people in extension really appreciate those technologies. And we also have some working plans to make sure that this event continues delivering its outputs. There are now 2-3 things that we look forward. One is to make sure that this event becomes a regular event where at least once in a year we bring more ICT solution providers and more extension service providers together, including end users, farmers. So that is one. So we are working with the Ministry of Agriculture to make this a regular one. But then to be able to also influence existing strategies and include ICT as a major advisory service delivery mechanism. So we hope that will be fulfilled by establishing a working group which is led by the Director of Extension. So we are working on that right now in making sure that that institutional arrangement is set up. Over to you, Andrew.
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Milian. So let me quickly show what we have in our program for today. I'm going to share the screen very quickly. Yeah, so this is what we will cover. So Dr. Milian already started why and how this Ethiopian ICT for Extension event was organized. Then there will be an introduction on the effectiveness and efficiency of ICT in extension done by Samsung. I will add sometimes. Then how the program for that event was structured. There were pitches, marketplace, panel discussions, and so on. Then which type of ICT solutions were presented? It will be also overviewed by Samsung, and then some of the ICT solution providers will present their solutions. What were the lessons learned from this event? Then Dr. Milian will come again, and there might be some news coming also during this this webinar. For instance, the digitization of agriculture event in Rwanda. So that is our agenda for today. If some of you want to ask a question, you can also send it on the participants chat. You can see the participants chat. It's the fourth icon at the bottom from the right. So you just click on it, and there will be a bar on the right side of on the left side. It's on the left, bottom left. And you will see a bar on the right side where you can start chatting also or asking questions. So now I will give the floor to Samsung. Samsung, are you there? Are you ready? And
yes,
I can project your slide when you want.
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon or good morning, depending on where you are. I'm Samson Shatu, former AFAS program officer, assisting Max Olupo Tolalatau. And I'm seeing him, he's also on. And currently I'm working for Farm Radio International, Ethiopia office as a country director. So just a kind of a continuation from what has been presented by Milian. So he has explained how we started organizing this ICT marketplace, and he has explained very well. And just one thing just to add on, there is a dedicated website meant for this event. Maybe Andre can share that link on the chat window, so that those of you who are interested, you can access more information about how it was organized and what were the ICT solutions and the program detail and some of the documents that were shared by different presenters. Okay. Let me be okay on. Yeah, I think this is the dedicated ICT4EAS extension website. So I'm not going through all that. Maybe Andre, you may present my slide so that I can continue. Hello, Andre.
Yes, I'm coming with your slide now.
Okay. Okay. So while he's projecting the slides, so I'm going to give you how, there were different components, in the ICT marketplace, which was organized. One is, as usual, there was an opening speech and keynote speech from different key personalities, including the donors from BMGF, Belinda Gates and Belinda, the Gates Foundation, and also the representative from the Ministry of Agriculture and from the research system. Then after that, we had a poster session, which is mainly, the main focus of the ICT for extension. Then I'm going to explain, that one later, but as Milian explained, there was an objective how really we can utilize ICT more specifically for the extension system to enhance our service delivery and to make our ICT, our extension service more effective and efficient. Next slide, please. Yeah, generally how really ICT is going to make our life very easy, and that really help, the extension service delivery, especially in reaching critical mass. The next slide, please. Andre. Yeah, so generally, ICT in general, it really accelerate and improve, especially the cost effectiveness of the process in terms of reaching the critical mass and so on. As especially in Africa, the farmers to extension ratio is very weak. So that's the use of ICT is very important. So for instance, in using webinar, for the experience that we are applying right now, so wherever we are now, we can come to one platform and we can share our experience and so without any traveling and so on. That really, make us more cost effective. The experience that was shared during the ICT marketplace, like the Hello ARF and the Uber Tractor, that's also a kind of an example that really makes our extension service delivery cost efficiency. The other important thing is also it accelerates wider dissemination of information. For instance, the use of radio and video, you can reach critical mass in a real time within a short period of time, so that the cost still can be cost effective. And also really the use of ICT that really improves access to information, and also it improves the interaction. For instance, the market price with one of the ICT providers presented by the DAMAT, which came from the northern part of Ethiopia. They shared their experience, how they really work in the areas of providing information in the market area. And also it improves the retention of information shared in a multimedia format. For instance, Farm Radio International, the Digital Green, have demonstrated their experience, how really information can be retained when we are using multiple sources of information. And also it improves collaborative works, especially in planning, monitoring, and evaluation. Instead of coming together, you can avoid duplication of efforts and so on. So the use of ICT in this area, we cannot really avoid. So that with that intention, that's why we organize that ICT marketplace with these all purposes. And as Million explained, we can say that we have really achieved that objective. Even the feedback that we have received from participants, that really confirm. Next slide, please. Am I going to continue all my presentation, or we pause some for question and answer session, Andre?
Yeah, it's up to you. If you think we should pause a little bit, then we can. Okay.
Let me finish this slide, then maybe I'll invite maybe a question or some suggestion. Then generally, based on the experience, even different literature, as well as based on our experience during that marketplace, we can say that in the form of recommendation that's like effective application of ICT extension, it really requires the needs-driven or the demand-driven, and also content should be very credible, as we discussed in our earlier webinar. This is one of the important issues that was raised, and we have agreed. The content should be credible, and that source of information should be more credible before we really decide to share for critical mass, so especially for smallholder farmers, in order to avoid the risks of sharing wrong information and so on. And trust is also very important, especially between the message as well as those people who are receiving the message. So generally, in order to improve the effectiveness and efficiency of ICT use in extension, I think there must be a need for the content, and that content should be more credible, and there must be some good trust between the content provider as well as the content receiver. Then generally, farmers are more likely to adapt when they see fellow farmers applying a technique. For instance, using different ICT, like using video, you can share the experience while farmers are doing so that farmers could be really convinced. Again, through the radio also, the experience that we have in Farm Radio International, when farmers, they are hearing their neighbor farmers, the voices of their neighbor farmers, they really trust that information. So that in that area, ICT that can really facilitate, the utilization of information. In general, instead of using a single ICT solution, it is always advisable to use integrated approach so that farmers, they can really get different options of or sources of information, and that really enhance their knowledge and also the practice. So this is generally just a kind of an introduction. What is the use of ICT and so on? Maybe I can open up some question or reflection so that we can enrich our discussion.
Yes, so those who have some questions, you can just unmute yourself, click on the mic so that you are muted, and just ask your questions. Samsung and Million, by the way, can start answering.
And also yourself, and there are also colleagues who attended this meeting also, like Tadessa and also Daniel from Farm Radio International. So any question or any suggestion or reflection, it's welcome.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, Davido.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. Thank you, dear Samson, for your presentation. What I want to ask is how to reach directly the farmers. I saw that in your presentation, what you present, it is to pass through as essential agents or others before reaching the farmer. But my question is how to use ICT to directly touch the farmers. That is my question. Thank you very much.
Okay, any other? So that I can respond once. If not, I can continue and I can respond for that. Thank you for your question, Davido. Yes, when I say reaching farmers, so it's not necessarily sometimes we provide information through extension workers, especially the use of ICT that really support the work of extension workers. So farmers, if they have different options or different sources of information, they can really directly access that information. That is why we need to make sure that the quality of the content or the sources of that content should be credible. So for instance, if they are accessing information through radio, without even the interference of extension workers, they can directly get that information. Then that information should be compiled through the active participation of the extension workers. So that's why it's not necessarily always, passing all information through extension workers, especially in face-to-face extension. Yes, it is true. It is the extension workers that is providing the information. But when you think about ICT, farmers, they can get directly that information. But that information should be credible and it should be need-based. That is what I was saying. If I really answered your question, if not, I will ask my colleagues maybe to chip in.
Yeah, can I? Hello?
Hello, yeah, it is good. It is good, it is good.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, so
let me continue.
Okay.
Yeah, if there is no more question on this first slides, we can continue.
Vous voulez suivre ça? Là, je peux enlever.
Yes, Andre. Where is the slide?
Yeah, it's coming now.
Hello, am I hearing some voice, or shall I continue?
Yeah, you can continue.
Okay. Then, as I said earlier, during this the ICT marketplace, there were different sessions. One of the sessions was the marketplace, and the two sessions were marketplace and panel discussion. So I'm going to give you an overview of how the event was structured and what were, the processes we followed and what were the results or the reflection from participants. Next slide. So that poster session, there were, initially we announced, for all ICT providers in Ethiopia, to share a brief concept notes about their poster, what they would like to share during the ICT marketplace. Then the technical review committee reviewed their posters, and finally 14 ICT solution providers were accepted. I will tell you later who are these, the 14 presenters. Then we organized that poster session with the shift and share method. Those of you who attended the GIFRAS annual meeting in Korea, this is the method I learned personally. Then I found it very important and applicable for this session. Then we have used, and I will tell you how we really applied that, and we have modified a little bit and we have applied this method. Then we had allocated 2-hour session for this for the poster session. Next slide. These were the 14 ICT solution providers. I'm not going through all these 14 solution providers, but as I said, we have used the shift and share method. So initially we organized, these are the 14 ICT solution providers into 2 groups. We coded them odd and even because the venue that we had for this event was so small. Then we couldn't give chances for all presenters to present at a time. So we had the challenge in terms of venue as well as time. So we organized them into 2 groups. As you can see, the first group are coded as the odd group. The first one, including from the public sector as well as, some NGOs. Then the second group, we grouped them into even numbers. Then maybe the next slide. So this was the process we followed, the shift and share session. So as I said, then generally each solution provider, they have done 1-minute pitch, which they really promoted what's all about their ICT solution. In a plenary session, it's a kind of promotion. This is what's all about my ICT solution. If you are interested, then please come and visit me. Then I will tell you more detail and so on. So that was a 1-minute pitch. Then, as I said, the ICT solution providers, they were grouped into 2 groups. Then participants, they were asked to pick 6 out of 14. Then based on that, the pitch, they decided to pick 6 out of 14. Then each solution providers, we asked them, when all odd numbers are presenting, then even numbers, they were silent. Because they were sitting, next to each other. The first session was presented by all odd numbers, as I said, the 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11, and 13. Then the second session was presented by even number. So during the first session, all ICT solution providers, they were asked to present for 7 minutes. Generally, we have allocated totally 15 minutes for each session, 7 minutes for presenters, and 8 minutes for interaction, for discussion and question. Then with this procedure, all participants, they had a chance to visit at least 6 out of 14 ICT solutions based on their need. Then finally, we ask them feedback from visitors. What are the ICT solutions which they visited, and what are the lessons which they found, and especially what are the take-home assignment which they can really work together with that ICT solution provider, so that they can really work together and scale up that the ICT solution for the wider community. Then we have received positive feedback, and people, they were very excited about the ICT solution. Some of them, they said that they are not even aware all these ICT solutions are really available in Ethiopia. And some of them, they said they found them very interesting, and that really helps their work and so on. So these are the kind of feedback which they received. And also the feedback which we received from presenters, also they received a kind of feedback how they can really scale up and reach different areas instead of only focusing in few areas. So that was because that was the main purpose of the marketplace. Then finally, we gave them a kind of general reflection, all participants to reflect, the general impression and the future plan which they can really utilize that ICT solution. So this was, how we really conducted the poster session. Maybe if you have any question in relation to the poster session, I can really still entertain 1 or 2 questions before I proceed to the panel discussion. The second session was the panel discussion. Any questions?
Maybe also Samsung, it's good to stress that all these parts of the shift and share session are covered in video format that people can see on the website, especially the pitch, the 1-minute pitch by 14 participants, solution providers, is covered in the website. You can see under the video. Also the general atmosphere, the ambience that was during the marketplace, when people were listening and looking at all these activities. So you can just go through the website and have more information about all this. So time for question now.
Yeah, I'm just seeing a question from Max in a chat window. What are the 2 key lessons learned, and how effective was it, and what made it so? So one lesson which I could say is that people, they said that they were not aware about even the ICT solution providers are really available. Then they said that this is a good opportunity for future partnership. So organizing this kind of marketplace, that really creates an opportunity for future partnership, so that different extension service providers, they can really work together. So organizing this kind of marketplace is also good for key lesson that I can say. And also maybe the other lesson which I could say that especially we had a kind of discussion during the general discussion, which they said that these all ICT solution providers they are not in harmony, and there is no platform where different ICT solution providers and those service providers are coming together and interact. So having this kind of platform, for instance, having the website which we created, there was a kind of discussion and a kind of, many people, by the way, we had a e-discussion which we conducted before the event. Then we have received different feedback and different for the event. So organizing also, a pre-event before organizing any event that really provide any information and people will be aware. So and also the second question, how effective was it and what made it so was, I think I really appreciate, the support that we received from Andre in coordinating all this, the virtual discussion and so on, and also the support he provided during the marketplace. So having you like a kind of an ICT person, who can really provide you practical support, is that make this kind of event more successful and effective. Maybe my colleagues, they can chip in. What are any other lessons which you can share? Maybe Andre or Million or any other people.
Alazar is there, Kadese is there.
Well, I thought there is a session for me to talk about lessons, huh? Or should I bring it in now?
Now we will go more.
One or two which you can share.
Yeah, well, two things probably, okay, which I can come back later as well.
Yeah, the question is especially in relation to the shift and session or the poster session, not entirely the lesson from the marketplace.
Okay, then the others may respond. Mine is more on the overall lessons on organizing level.
Yeah.
I think Samson summarized it nicely. It was more of a discovery for most of the people. And for ICT solution provider, it was understanding that there is lack of coordination and synergy between all the solution providers, because some people were developing the same databases or the same services, and it should be more efficient in future. I think these are the key lessons I took from that event.
Okay, thank you so much. So let me proceed then. Yes, then another session which we held was the panel discussion. In fact, this session was moderated by Million. So initially we have identified different areas of topics to be discussed. What are the issues around, for instance, what are the challenges and the opportunities, especially using the ICT in Ethiopia, and what will be the role of especially the private sector in utilizing ICTs, and also what are the different strategies and policies in using the ICTs in extension, especially in the Ethiopian context. These were the issues that we discussed, during the panel discussion. So panelists were from the private sector, from the public sector, especially from the Ministry of Agriculture and the research system, and also from the donor community, the MGF, and also representing NGO that was represented by the Digital Grain. Then the panelists, generally, they were given a chance to share their experience with the questions that were raised from the moderator, as well as some questions that were raised from the participant. They shared their experience, especially how they are really using the ICT solutions, and what are the challenges which they faced, and how they really overcome, and so on, and what are, especially in relation to the role that public sector that they are really playing. Then that session was very hot, and especially participants, they raised different critical issues around the challenges and opportunities, especially in the context of Ethiopia. Like the ICT infrastructure is very challenging. Otherwise, there is really huge opportunity in terms of commitment and support from government side. And in terms of strategy, especially in the newly launched extension strategy, ICT and knowledge management is also, it is really, I mean, there is a dedicated pillar that deals about ICT and knowledge management. That's also, it was considered as an opportunity. And especially the support, I mean, the private sector is, I mean, they are providing, especially in developing the ICT tools like apps and so on. That was really, it's also encouraging. Otherwise, again, another challenge is, especially in the Ethiopian context, there is only a single internet service provider. That's also a critical challenge. Otherwise, now government is opening up, I mean, private sectors also to come in and support, especially in providing internet infrastructure and so on. So this was, I mean, the panel discussion. Million maybe can provide us maybe some key outputs, maybe 1 or 2 key outputs from this panel discussion. Million.
I think for me, there were some 2, 3 key outputs which I would like to reflect on. The first, you also highlighted it. We had a panelist from the Ministry of Agriculture, the Extension Director, with us. So that showed the readiness of the public extension system to actually embrace ICT and mainstream it in the national extension strategy. That was important for many of the ICT solution providers to know, because they were not sure exactly what the position of the government is. So that was a good opportunity, I guess. The second one was from the private actors. We had a startup incubator with us, and he was talking. He was asking particularly some of the challenge of ICT startups, and he gave very good inputs, including the business environment, which usually discourage ICT startups. And there were government people, donor people in the room. So his reflection actually gave a good overview of how you can support startups, because in the end, if you look at most of the ICT solution providers, they are young. They are not big businesses. They have strong ideas, but they still need a long way to go. So those perspectives from the private actor were really important. And finally, we also had the opportunity to have even if very brief, some ideas on upcoming initiatives both by the government and donors such as BMGF, which are to launch a big extension or advisory service, digitizing advisory service kind of project, which is coming up. So I think through the event and the panel discussions, people were able to have some ideas on what is to come in the coming years in Ethiopia when it comes to digitizing extension services. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Milian. So now we will look at some of the solutions, the ICT solutions that were presented during that day. So we have in the pipeline, we have farm radio, we have whom else? Hello Earth, and we have also from the research. So
Yes.
when you, yeah.
Okay, so I think, okay, let me see, I mean, the next slide so that I'll invite accordingly. So I think the first presenter is going to be, is it EIR? The next slide. Okay, hello, EIR. So I mean, as I said, there were 14 ICT solution providers. In fact, we invited them, I mean, to join us today. Then fortunately, the 3 of them, they were willing to share their experience. So we'll give them like 5 minutes to share about their ICT solutions. Once they have made their presentation, we'll open up, I mean, for question and ask some question and some suggestions. So let me ask the first presenter, ARF. Is he around?
Yes, yes, Doctor.
Okay.
Come around.
Yes.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, Andre, would you
Yes.
please project his slides so that he's going to present? Would you kindly introduce yourself briefly, then you'll start your presentation. Then keep your time, 5 minutes, so that people will get a chance to ask a question.
So sorry,
Okay.
Have you sent your presentation, Alazar? I haven't got it.
Yes, I have sent you yesterday. I can use this yesterday presentation.
Okay, yeah. Okay then. Yeah, go ahead with your presentation first.
Okay, in case if you don't have it right now, we can ask still Farm Radio International to make presentation. Whichever slide is ready, you can project and they can start.
Okay, Farm Radio is there. Yeah, let me show. Let me share the Farm Radio first. That one is very close here.
Okay.
Where is that? Oh.
Is that okay, Alaza?
Yeah, it's fine. No problem.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Then Daniel.
Wait. I can't find it now. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So.
So I will keep time. Daniel, 5 minutes, over to you.
Sorry.
No, this is not Daniel's presentation.
This is his presentation now.
Yes. Daniel, are you on? Daniel?
Okay, if maybe Daniel is not around, I can make my presentation. Sorry, Andre.
Yeah, maybe
okay?
you can flip.
Oh, so where is that presented? The other one?
No, I have it. I can share it from here, Andre.
It's okay. I have it now. It's here.
Because I have added just one slide, which is very important. So I better share my screen or the slides from here. Is that okay?
Okay, go.
Okay. 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 Can you hear me? Hello, everyone?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay, so yeah, sorry. Just 1 minute, sorry. Okay. My name is Tadessa. I'm working in Ethiopian Institute of Agricultural Research. I'm working as an ICT director. So yeah, actually, we are not a solution providers, like we are not a commercial or non-governmental solution providers, but we are working in the government. So our main aim is to use ICT for agricultural research in our institute. So actually, this is one of our projects which we are working with other partners, which is the We Trust Early Warning system. So in Ethiopia, for Ethiopian, actually, it is the national project. So as you can see in this slide, this is the framework for the early warning system at national level. So yeah, you can see many partners, including the CIMIT, the Ministry of Agriculture, the ATA, the Cambridge University is also working with this project, mainly on modeling. So yeah, as you can see in this slide, there are many partners working in this, but mainly EIR is a central unit where the server is stationed in EIR. That means all the survey collected from Ethiopia will be stored in EIR, and then from this, other partners will use this survey for prediction and also for modeling. As you can see, there are different partners, like the extensions are also the partners. They will get information from the EIR central unit. Field data or survey will be collected in real time from the field by the researchers. And in EIR, there are many research centers working on the wheat. So they work on the, there are pathologists who are working on the disease identification and so on. And the CIMIT also, they work with us on the dispatching the information and also organizing the survey. So mainly the Cambridge University and UK Met Office, they work on the environmental or climate related information, and so they work on the dispersal suitability, and also they analyze the risk, and then from there they send us the risk or the report, and then those reports will be disseminated to all over Ethiopia by the Ministry of Agriculture. So this is the framework. So as you can see, it's a little bit complex framework which involves many actors or partners. So it's not just only EIR. But in this presentation, I will present what we did in EIR, mainly in Ethiopian Institute of Agricultural Research, as we are the center for the data, because we generate huge data from survey and also from the different researches. So as you can see, the next slide, this is actually the flow chart or to develop that framework or the platform. So here also there are many actors and there are many information exchanges, data exchanges among these different partners. So as you can see in the red box, we implemented a system mainly for the survey collection system and race analysis, and also survey dissemination system to the respective partners. So actually we successfully implemented the server or deployed a server for survey collection, and we customized the ODK, Open Data Kit, and this year the survey was collected from all over Ethiopia to our server, and from that they used the survey for the modeling and also prediction. So actually here extension agents or farmers might not directly access our server or our output, but they indirectly use the output of our system, because from this prediction, all the information will be disseminated to the farmers and also the development agents to, apply some pesticide or other chemicals. So indirectly, it benefits the DS or the extension agents and farmers. So as you can see here, this is the architecture that we already implemented or developed. And in the next slide, you will see how we customize the Open Data Kit. And this slide shows the researchers while he's taking the survey using the ODK. So actually, we provided so many trainings for the researchers on how to use this ODK, Open Data Kit, which is the open source system for data collection or survey collection. And we implemented or developed a web portal, actually, which can be accessible from all over, from anywhere. So this web portal will give information or reporters prediction to even to the farmers or DS and at Warada level. So one of the challenge previously was, to disseminate the information to the farmers. It takes a very long time because, we collect the survey will be analyzed, and then the modeling will be done, and then from there the risk analysis will be done, and then that risk will become again to the decision makers, and the decision makers will send the report or the information to the farmers. So it takes a very long time. So we, to avoid this one, we developed a web portal for the wheat communities. Yes?
Maybe kindly wrap up within 1 minute.
Okay. Okay. So, okay, I'll be quick. So actually, this is another project that actually it's at prototype level. We developed a mobile application. So this directly can be used by the extension agents or DS. So the objective of this project is, to the farmers, even the development agents, they can report any Rust incidents using this mobile application. Actually, it is at prototype level, but in the future we have a plan to deploy fully, test and deploy this system. So this is another progress that we have made. So this is my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Tadesse, for your interesting presentation. Then let's hear, the two remaining presentations. Then we'll open question and answer session later. Andre, which slide is ready?
Yes, well, the farm radio is ready. So,
Daniel, are you on?
Hello, yeah.
Yes, okay, please project his slide so that, so
Okay.
Daniel, again, keep your time, 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
Hello guys, my name is Daniel Ayaleo from Farm Radio International. I'm a Digital Innovation Officer for Ethiopia team. My presentation is that Farm Radio is a Canadian NGO which is working for small-scale farmers to improve their productivity and food security. So we have been working for 718 plus radio partners, which is we disseminate information via radio, and we use mobile platform to get feedbacks that the farmers get from radio broadcasts. So
Daniel, If you
Hello?
need, yes, if you want, I mean, to be displayed the next slide, just tell to Andre next
Yeah, I
slide.
will tell Andre. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
good.
So we use a radio platform because, as you know, radio is a widespread platform to disseminate information. This is, even though it's an old apparatus to disseminate information, we still widely used in Africa. So that's why we use radio. And the other thing we choose radio is it is accessible for every farmers in each area. Uh, the other one is it's inexpensive, but you know, radio is cheaper than any other information disseminating apparatus. So that's why we use radio. And the basic, and that's why farm radio choose radio is, which is interactive. Uh, which means is interactivity is radio, the old-fashioned radio only uses only to disseminate information, give information. It didn't receive information. So farm radio came up with the system which is called Radio 2.0, which means radio must have to receive information, not only give information. So we use this system, which is Radio 2.0, which is integrated an ICT technology to receive information and to give information. So we throw away the one-way communication platform to the two-way communication device. That's why the Radio 2.0 is the special technology that we brought to the farmers to give information and to receive information from farmers. Andre, can you change the next slide to the next slide? So how we get information from the farmers, and as you know, radio is the basic purpose of radio is to give information. So there is a drawback, which is the radio can't receive feedbacks to the listeners, from listeners. So we use this technology, which is called an IVR, an interactive voice response. This technology is a pre-recorded audio, which the farmers can call to a designated number to give information and to give feedback to the radio program. This means that this technology allows the farmers to work closely with the radio broadcasters and to get knowledge and to ask any kind of questions regarding of the farming practices and other questions. So we use this technology to make the radio a two-way communication. So the other thing is, how can we get the information from the farmers to the broadcasters? So we use a ULISA platform, which is created by Farm Radio. And this platform is a web-based platform which the broadcasters and other stakeholders can access and get farmers' feedback. So this platform makes it easier that the broadcasters and the journalists get any kind of feedback from farmers, and they will address via our radio program. So the one question which is raised by any farmers can deliver to the millions and like thousands of listeners to give information. So one feedback worthy of millions of questions. So that's why we use ULISA platform and an IVR technology to communicate and to engage with the farmers. So you can see the impact that we that will be on the ground to improve and to change the lives of the farmers. That's how we do the technology. Andre, change the next slide. So there are different type of ICT service that we deliver to the farmers, which is we call them the customers. So our customers, our end customers are farmers. So we engage them and we give a different type of service to communicate and to talk to us. There are these services are the one is survey. We conduct a survey to collect an information from farmers, which is maybe it's a demography, it's market information. So maybe we ask them what's the market information, where did you get the market information about your product? And the other service is, hello?
You have 2 minutes, okay?
Okay, I'll finish up in 2 minutes. The other one is a polling service. A polling service is every time we have a production and a program, there will be a polling question which is related to the program which is aired. For example, if we air a program about the fall armyworm, we will push and we will ask farmers about that section of program. So if we have a 16-week program, we will ask 16 poll questions about the farmer, about the program. And we will know that how much the farmers will understand our program, and we will know the impact of our program. That's how we evaluate our program. And the other service is tips. These tips is the most the best impacted and the best services that we give for farmers. We give an agricultural tips within 2 minutes and like 2.5 minutes about a specific topic to give information, advice in any kind of weather accidents and everything. So that will give us the important information within 2 minutes. So this service will help the farmers to know a recap and a compiled information on the agriculture. And the other thing is we give reminder. We push a call to remind them to listen to our program. Maybe the program will be aired maybe today, so we will push the call before the program is started, so before maybe 30 minutes. So we remind them to listen to our program so that they will follow up and they get information and they gain knowledge. So these are the services that we provide to the farmers. Andre, next slide. And these are the facts and the number of feedbacks that we get in each project. These are the sample project that I put it in this slide, but there are other projects and the numbers are way better than and more than this. So as you can see, as for example, the Staples projects, there are different area portion that we cover in this project, which is the target area region is the major 4 regional areas we cover. And the thing that we have impact on the ground is the interactivity on fall armyworm. We did great to for the impact on the impact to decrease dangerous and the thing that makes farmers.
Daniel.
Hello.
Daniel, just wrap up because still we have one more presentation and still we need to have a conclusion. Okay. We have only 10 minutes to finish this session.
Okay, so these are the numbers and the examples that we have feedbacks on the radio program. So for we have the total number of 160,000 farmers that participated in our program. So these are the samples that we have on our database. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Thank you so much. Okay, then the last presentation is from Lazar. Andre, do you have his presentation, or is he going to make his presentation from his computer?
Yes, Alazar is going to do his presentation from his computer. He's charging he's loading his presentation now.
Okay.
Yes, please go ahead,
so,
Alazar.
Alazar, make sure that you finish in 5 minutes time, because we have only 10 minutes even to finish the entire webinar. So we have.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alazar Mikael. I am from Ethiopia, and I am co-founder and business development manager for Connect Trading PLC, who is behind Hello Earth. So Hello Earth is a tractor hiring tool for farmers and a tracking and monitoring tool for tractor owners. So basically, let me start it from the challenge that inspired us. Basically, we are one of the poor productive countries when it comes to the cereal crops. So our farmers produce 10% less the African average and 50% less the world average, specifically if we look into the wheat value chain. And one of the problems is very low access to mechanization service. In one of the studies we have conducted in one Warada, 46% of the farmers access mechanization service by calling to a long thread of phone calls to brokers and operators to get the tractor service. And 44% of them also travel physically to the nearby city to get the brokers and the operators. And most of them, 80% of them, we can say, are not happy in the way that they are accessing the mechanization service. On the other hand, the mechanization service providers, especially the owners of the tractors, they are urban dealers who will be in the cities or in the nearby towns and send operators with their assets. So they are mostly incurred income and fuel theft, high cost of maintenance because they don't do preventive maintenance to their machine. Most of their clients are not satisfied with the service provided, and because of the loose link between the actual demand and the supply, they also invest a lot in promoting themselves. So the solution that we come up with is called Hello Earth. Normally, Earth is an Amharic word for the very ancient farming tool. So is just to represent that and the future. We name it Hello Earth. So the idea is a combination of 3 technologies, a call center, mobile application, and tracking devices to be installed on the tractors. So the tractors would be tracked 24/7 where they are, what they are doing. And so farmers can call into the call center to book for a tractor service for a specific date in a specific area. And tractor operators or tractor owners can see their booking and their booking schedule, accept and reject bookings from the farmers or either from the call center. So the call centers, operators in the call center can manage these kinds of things just sitting back in office and in their desktop, because the tracking devices are directly communicating with our web server. So with this, we can ease the way that farmers are hiring tractors nowadays. So they can directly call into our call center. Otherwise, we are also providing extension agents with a booking application. So in most of the cases in our, especially with the wheat value chain, there are wheat clusters where farmers in the neighborhood be organized in a cluster. So there are dedicated extension agents to that cluster to take care and support the farmers. So these extension agents can be provided with a booking application so that they can book a tractor for this specific cluster in a specific way, and they can also tap into the location so that the operator would know which area would be cultivated by that specific time. And the mechanization service provider or the owner of the tractors, as I said before, they can manage their bookings, manage the operation, like how many farmers has been supported or been served that specific day, how big or what area has been covered, and when is the next preventive maintenance day, and also what amount of money has been collected that specific day would be updated to these owners. So we generally wanted to solve a kind of problems in the three areas: the farmers, the extension agents, and the owners of the tractors, by just leveraging these three technologies. And going forward, we are also planning to integrate an e-payment system so that farmers would pay for their service just right away from their mobile service. So this also expands the financial inclusivity of the farmers. So the overall illustration of the services, as you can see, it's like calls come into the operation, the operators into the call center, then the call centers make the bookings, confirmation will be made by the mechanization service providers, and then on that specific confirmed day, the tractor will be available for that specific cluster in most of the cases, because cluster has to be made for the farmers to get the service. In general, what we plan for the future is we want to expand it in aerial coverage of the service and also include additional crops other than wheat, cereals, and also vertically we want to diversify the service by leveraging the geospatial data of the farmers, like in the weather forecast and other additional services linked up with delivery. So in general, this is what we are trying to deliver. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you very much, Al-Azhar. Thank you so much for all the three presenters. May I open now, any question if you have for the three presenters? Any question or suggestion? Hello? Okay, if you don't have any question or any reflection, maybe Andre. I think yes. I'm done my part, and I think the next session is going to be presented by Million about the key lessons from the marketplace event. Then we go for wrap up. Thank you very much, everyone, for your attention and for your participation, and thank you for all the three presenters for your interesting presentation. Thank you.
Million, over to you.
Okay. On lessons, I would put them in two groups. The first one is general lessons on ICT and ICT use in extension, and then the second one as the organizing committee, what did we learn? on ICT use generally for extension in Ethiopia, but I hope this applies for other countries as well. We had some 2-3 lessons identified. One is there was a serious issue of the need to coordinate. ICT solutions are only one part of the bigger problem. When we want to provide extensions through ICT, there are questions of, for example, having a good content. Without a good content, the ICT itself may not do much. So content is really important. So who should generate knowledge, who should supply that knowledge is one. Then yeah, you need an ICT solution, usually which comes from private providers, but the content usually comes from public research and extension system. But then there's also a need for sustainability, especially when it comes to ICT. A good business model is really important to make sure that whatever we deliver is sustainable. So the issue of coordination of private actors, public knowledge providers, content providers, and having a business model to run this is really a crucial thing that we learned. We also talked about, the problem is well beyond agriculture. ICT, it has a technology component, but if you want to use it for extension, it would also have a system level challenge where, for example, you need to have a strong infrastructure and a very supportive regulatory environment. One of the concerns, especially from the private actors, especially those who are incubating businesses, was that the current both infrastructure and regulatory environment in the country was not really very supportive of innovations and use of ICT for extension. So that has to be really addressed. So these are from the technical ICT points of views, but we also had our own lessons as organizing committee, some of which I would like to share you. One is, I was working from the research organization. Samson was from the farm radio. Digital Green was also from an NGO sector. So in order to really attract and organize a workshop which is legitimate enough to attract many actors, we had to work with existing institutions like the Ministry of Agriculture, Extension Directorate. Embedding our activity within the ministry helped us to attract a large number of government decision makers, a reasonable number of donors, both from BMGF and World Bank, and ICT solution providers. So embedding, externally facilitated platforms like the marketplace within the extension, within existing institutional arrangements is really a lesson that we took as an organizing committee. We also took another lesson. We really had to plan the event seriously, because we scanned first what is happening around the extension system and digitization in Ethiopia, and we set the workshop time at a time where there was supposed to be a big initiative by the Ministry of Agriculture together with some donors and NGOs. So that actually helped for the ministry to be interested, for the donors to be interested, and to come to the event. So it was not just a random timing, but well-planned timing. So that is one lesson we got. And finally, okay, we had a nice workshop. People like it. They gave us their nice feedback. But we felt like, mainstreaming ICT in extension actually needs a continuous engagement. That is why we are now working on a working group within the Ministry of Agriculture, which would bring us together again on a regular basis. Without that, people would like your activity, they will go back and forget everything. So that after training or after workshop engagement mechanism is really important to continue these kinds of initiatives and ensure their sustainability. These are the lessons from my side.
Thank you very much, Milian. I think this was the longest webinar we had since now at TAFAS. I don't know if there are a couple of questions. We can still take 1-2 minutes. Otherwise, I will just wrap up. Yes.
Can I say one word before you wrap up?
Yes, Max, please.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you to the presenters for giving us a chance, those who were not able to participate in the Addis. This is quite very good because we've got a chance to learn. And perhaps I think Andre and the key organizers, if you could basically, in all these presentations, just consolidate to us what were the key outcomes, mainly in a consolidated, less than a page, and the lessons also in a page. I know now you will have them because they've been recorded, and that would be very nice. So I also want to conclude by saying, again, thanks to Andre for organizing a meeting, and also most importantly to recognize our partners, Capacity, who have enabled us to have these webinars through this arrangement with the AFAS, led by Andre as a facilitator. So we look forward to this continued engagement. And thank you to RDA, Capacity, and AFAS fraternity.
Yes, yeah, I won't be long anymore. Thank you, ICT4EAS Ethiopia. It was a very interesting sharing session. We had up to, I think, 19 participants in this webinars. Unfortunately, some has left. I think we learned a lot from this, and as Max said, we will put this, all the video, we recorded everything, we'll put the video on the website. For those who couldn't attend, you can retrieve it there. I will send the link. Also, don't forget that all the material from the ICT4EAS meeting are available on the ICT4EAS website, which I will send also, by the way. There are videos, there are photos, there are even the report, the full report. Max was asking about the outcome, but there is a full report already available on the website. So just go on that website and you will be able to retrieve everything. Now, the next webinar will take place on the 18th of this month. We missed two weeks because of some challenges, technical challenges from Ethiopia. But the next webinar will take place on the 18th. And this time we were going to do the NELC trainings, the new extensionist trainings, and there will be two versions, 1 hour each. The English version will start at 3 as usual, and then after 1 hour there will be a French version. So the West African community of Francophone will be able to participate more into these webinars also for the next session. So with that, I will say thank you to everybody. Beatrice is back again. Beatrice, please fix your sound system because you haven't been able to participate today. Everybody who has attended, you can also come 15 minutes before the session next time, because I will be there and we can test your sound system so that you make sure you'll be able to participate in the next session. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
And see you next time on the 18th.
Thank you so much, Andre.
Thank you, Andre.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.